Hi, I'm Professor Beck Strah.
And I'm Professor Eric Bronson. And this is Prison Breakdown.
2, 3, break!
Hate to spoil his fun, but we're gonna bust out of here.
2, 3, break!
You're locked in here with you. You're locked in here with me.
2, 3, break!
I can honestly say I'm a changed man. No danger to society here. God's honest truth.
2, 3, break!
I'm not leaving this cell. I'll get out my way. The right way.
2, 3, break!
Ahoy, dudes. Happy fall.
Ahoy. Oh, yes. There's nothing better than being on a sailing ship looking at those leaves changing right now. It is simply gorgeous out there.
On a sailing ship. Are you suggesting that you were on the ocean and looking at trees?
Well, I'm looking at trees and I can't see the ocean right now, but I will be looking at the ocean tomorrow when I drive over to our fantastic campus. But I happen to be up in New Hampshire right now staring at some gorgeous foliage. Yeah.
You know, I think of the car. Your car is kind of like a ship with wheels.
It is. It is. Absolutely. Well, and I do have a giant sail sticking out of my sunroof right now.
When people put those giant like American flags on their cars, is that a sail technically?
It'd be really funny to rig one of those up like a sail, and so their car just starts drifting on the highway.
That would be great.
Nothing would be funnier to me. I mean, hopefully no casualties.
No casualties, but yeah, to have a great big Jolly Roger flags hooked up like a sail. You know, taking our pirate ship down the highway on 95, that would be perfect.
That's the thing we don't talk about enough as a society. People who have giant flags on their cars.
Yeah.
You see them, we just don't talk about them. I've never heard anybody talk about them. Tell me your thoughts.
I tell you, well, I was going to tell you, I will tell you they are a big deal down south. I think based on where our location is, it's not a huge deal. Mm-hmm. But I think as the pickup truck population increases, the flag population in your pickup truck increases as well.
Yeah, I also say probably as the roads get wider and as there become more like lanes on the highway, probably. But you all got like real small roads out there. I got those real northeastern tiny roads that you can't really fit a big truck with a giant flag on. Yeah,
and low bridges, low ceilings.
Very true. Oh.
Yeah, true. Britt, what do you think of people riding around with flags on their cars and trucks?
I mean, it really depends on what flag it is. I don't see, if I see a couple flags, the more rural you get up here in Washington, the more flags on trucks you see, and it's always a truck. You never see a flag on like a Hyundai Elantra or anything like that.
It's sometimes a Jeep. I will.
Occasionally a Jeep. Jeeps are like truck tangential, though. You know,
yeah. Well,
close enough.
If we're being honest, isn't the flag simply an extension of like a bumper sticker or a magnet on a car, just trying to make some kind of statement about, hey, this is who I am?
It is entirely. It feels so performative to me, and the noise from it would drive me bananas. It must go whap 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 on the highway. Yeah, and that's not something I want to hear.
I mean, do you think these folks can actually hear that over the Jason Aldean playing in their truck or the Jelly Roll?
Well, then you want to hear the whap 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 whap.
Exactly.
Wow. Yes. Honestly, I think one tuning out the other is like a nice cancellation for all.
Right. Just like you just hear the Kid Rock coming in full blast and whap 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 whap.
It's interesting where how ba with the ba syncs up perfectly with whap 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 whap.
Oh, these folks aren't listening to like old Kid Rock. They're listening to "Ain't Nobody Gonna Tell Me How to Live." That stuff.
Yeah.
Is that Kid Rock's attempt to be? Well, I was going to say, is that Kid Rock's attempt to be Bob Seger?
Well, he got another band called Monster Truck from Canada in order to do the chorus for that song. And he just raps over it in his exact same like, I do the do, but the do the do, I'm Kid Rock, ready to do that exact same flow he does in every single song.
I see. Yeah. Yep.
There's a song he released in the last few years that it went, "We the people, let's go, Brandon," and it's just like cultural war grievances about like calling Trump big dog and how he doesn't think vaccines are good. It's so funny. It's the quickest song to be dated. I think it's hilarious. Make more like that, please, Kid Rock.
Yeah.
Sure.
Give us more vomit.
yes. He just wants to be in the cultural conversation. I get it. We all do.
Yep.
But stop it. Make what you used to make. Kid Rock used to make like fun music. His earlier like Devil Without a Cause, great album. I'll put it out there. New Kid Rock. Do either of you like Kid Rock?
No.
Yeah, it's embarrassing to like anything he's ever done at this point. But you know what? This podcast wears what we like on our sleeves.
Yes, we do. And on our pirate flag.
And on our news.
Is it time for news hot off the...
Fresh news, hot off the razor wire.
Hot and ready, like a Little Caesars pizza.
Hot and ready?
Yeah, that's what they call it. Hot and ready. Like their $6 pizza. It was a staple of my grad school experience.
Yeah.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, dude, Little Caesars rips. Like they make their deep dish pizza. Also advocate for that. So it's a delight.
Fun little fact here. So the inventor of Soylent, when he was living in a storage container in San Francisco, he like did the math to figure out what food was like the most calorie efficient and like how he could get the most calories for the money. And he figured out, at least for like going to restaurants or eating out, the Little Caesars hot and ready pizza, I believe the cheese one was the most calorie efficient of all.
Really?
Yeah. One of the most efficient things you can eat.
Man, Little Caesars pizza, who knew?
Yeah, I mean, you're getting like, at least like 3,000 calories there, I think, for like, $5-6. It's not a bad deal.
Wow.
You heard it here.
Well,
you have teenagers.
Yes. Yeah, I know. That's they aren't huge pizza eaters though. So
what? Who doesn't like pizza?
That's how does my child? How does something that I had something to do with in terms of creating not just but yeah, explains why they can see their can see their bellies and their waistlines and stuff, and they're all fit. But anyways, on with the news. We have a short news clip. Our short news clip relates kind of to Kid Rock in that we were going to talk about a musician very quickly. And as you probably heard, Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced. Finally.
Many names.
Yes. Sean Diddy Combs has been sentenced to 50 months in prison for his conviction on 2 prostitution-related offenses. So it's important to understand. 50 months is the correct one. So he gets credit for time served since his arrest. Combs has already spent 12 months in the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn. Before the judge read his sentence, Combs tearfully apologized in court, saying, "I've been humbled and broken to my core." Federal prosecutors argued Combs deserved at least 11 years in prison, while Combs' lawyer asked for a sentence of no more than 14 months. So he will now serve just over 3 years in a federal correctional institution for his convictions. So nothing overly exciting today, but I thought it was important that we make sure we bring the news about P Diddy and his pediddling around that he's about to do inside federal prison system.
Pediddling. Let me ask you too. I did not pay a lot of attention to the case. I know the peripherals. I've had some life stuff going on that's kept my head out of the news as much as I am interested. Do you think justice was served here?
No.
Yeah. No way.
No, he's going to spend maybe like 2 more years behind bars. You know, like this is not for someone who did like violent sexual acts towards a lot of people. This is not justice in any regard.
Right. You know, this is, this borders on the same lines as that religious leader that was that pastor who was just sentenced the other day. That was Trump's advisor. His religious advisor during his first term was just sentenced the other day, and for the one thing that he will have to do, that guy will have to do, is he will have to register as a sex offender. I don't know if I haven't seen anything on here about whether or not Diddy is going to have to register as a sex offender, but if you're rich and powerful, there's just simply different rules. And that the guy who was Trump's spiritual advisor is only going to have to serve 6 months in jail for sexually assaulting a woman. So it's a horrible pattern.
There are 2 justice systems. There's one for the rich and powerful, and then there's one for like the poor and disadvantaged.
Yeah.
And these are clear examples of the former.
Absolutely. So that's our news, hot off the razor wire.
Now, let me bring you into a month out of the year that I like to call Jocktober.
Jocktober for this.
Jocktober, 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 Jocktober.
Or Jocktober, if
yeah.
you are from from Norway, maybe? I don't know.
Jocktober.
A soft kidding.
Yeah.
Welcome to the lovely month of Jocktober. The trees are turning brown and leaves are falling, and pumpkin spice and picking pumpkins and apples. That's what we're all about.
Ooh, what the real question is have you picked out your Halloween costume yet, since we're in October?
Yeah. I have a couple perma costumes that I keep on hand. I don't like Halloween traditionally, but I have had I do like the idea of like wearing something fun to class. And now that I'm a new father, I recognize that I have to get in the spirit a little bit to get the kid in the spirit. So
damn right you do. But you just enjoy something and stop shitting on everything. My goodness, don't like Halloween. What's wrong with you?
It's too much effort for one day out of the year. People spend a lot of time making costumes. Britt, as someone who appreciates the Gothic culture,
yes. How
do you feel about an All Hallows Eve?
Oh, I love Halloween. Halloween's one of my favorite holidays. Yeah. By the way, I hate to inform you this, but disliking Halloween is actually homophobic. So,
is it?
Yeah. It's definitely a homophobic attitude. It's like hating. It's like
that's
hating,
right.
It's like
give
hating,
it to him, Britt.
It's like hating disco. It's like I see your dog whistle. I see your dog whistle.
I don't like the amount of work that goes into a holiday for a costume.
Oh,
I feel like a whole lot more work goes into like Thanksgiving, Christmas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like,
well, let me ask you guys this: was the night before Halloween in Alaska anything special?
No. Cold. It was cold.
Oh, yeah. Even Halloween, it was regular to walk around with a costume on, but having a winter jacket over top of your costume. So this might be part of my opinions about Halloween.
Yes.
So
I'm Dracula with a Patagonia.
Dracula there's something in here.
No, I don't think
that's a character in itself.
The there are a lot of different names for the night before Halloween. A lot of places call it Mischief Night, Devil's Night, and in Michigan, that's where they find things to set fire to, especially in Detroit. Cabbage Night up here in New England. So there's a lot of different names for it, and that's where you go out and cause mischief. And I didn't know if you guys were mischievous the night before Halloween.
No, it was always too cold.
We're law-abiding citizens. What does cabbage night mean? What the hell is that?
What's the etymology of that? How'd they get to cabbage?
I have a feeling, if there was some cabbage to be found in fields, it was thrown places, and along with pumpkins in the street, and they were getting smashed, that kind of thing. So
I thought it was going to be like a Gen Z smoking cabbage.
Oh, smoking that jazz cabbage, baby.
Yeah, it's a night to go out and be mischievous.
So not a thing for us, but what is a thing for us? Part of our culture growing up in Alaska is Jocktober.
Jocktober, let's do it.
So a month long. 2 whole episodes where we talk about famous athletes who spent time in prison, what they did, and what their time in prison was like. And to kick it off, we're going to start with maybe one of the most famous athletes to spend time in prison, and a phenomenon that has been widely talked about in New England for years, and I have known very little about this for years. But the topic of today is Aaron Hernandez. And let me ask you too, without spoiling the ending, what do you know about Aaron Hernandez off the top?
Too much.
Nothing.
I would say I lived in Connecticut years ago, and he was such a good high school football player that he was getting national attention when I happened to be living there, and so his name became it was known that Bristol, Connecticut had this incredible football player who then went down south and played a little football, and then took off in the NFL as one of the great tight ends to be. And obviously he got all kinds of media attention. So because of my connection with football, I know way too much about this guy.
That's fascinating. Connecticut's not even football country. You think of the Friday Night Lights of the South. And so to hear of a high school football player just living in Connecticut is unheard of.
And he, without a doubt, was so athletically gifted and good at what he was doing in high school that the news in New England was that he was considered the top tight end prospect in the country out of high school.
Wow. So let's get into it. Aaron Joseph Hernandez, born 1989, grew up in Bristol, Connecticut. His life has a lot of early trauma. So his parents would fight all the time. They divorced. They got remarried at one point. It's always funny when people divorce then remarry. I never quite understand that, but that's not for me to understand.
No. That's, if it works for them, great. I don't get it either.
So his parents at one point declared bankruptcy, and his dad, Dennis Hernandez, notably abusive toward Aaron and his brother. And he was a violent alcoholic who would beat his kids for any reason he chose at the time. His dad was also abusive to his mother. His brother recounts his dad slamming his mom's head into a sink over and over. And his dad also got into a fight with Aaron's youth football coach after a disagreement about his coaching methods. So got into a fist fight there. According to Aaron's brother, Aaron was sexually molested as a child. While he was at a babysitter's house at age 6, Aaron and his brother were playing hide and seek with a couple of older boys. Aaron and one of the older boys hid in a tent together, and the older kid forced him into sex acts, which apparently this molestation continued for years. And in 2006, we get a few years older, Aaron was 16 years old when his dad, Dennis, dies of complications after hernia surgery. And it's one of those things he said he never got over. His mother claimed that Aaron acted out his grief by rebelling against authority, but that didn't matter quite so much for his career because he's quite good at football. And Mr. Hernandez ended up going down south to the Florida Gators from 2007 through 2009. He had a lot of buzz around him, as Eric had stated, and he got all these honors for his playing. But around this time, he starts getting in trouble with Johnny Law. He's a guy who has this reputation for, like, you look at him funny, you slight him in any way, and he takes major offense to it. And he always thought that people are trying to like fight him or physically challenge him. We've all met people like this before, where you like look at them funny, or you like they shoulder check you. He's that kind of guy.
Right. So it's obviously I would say with the combination of the treatment of growing up, obviously the way the parents' dynamic probably made him feel like he was maybe a little bit abandoned, maybe a little bit alone, and so he was always seeking affirmation. And for a lot of people in that situation, one of the ways they do it is by being reaffirmed as the toughest person around, right? If he's seen as that way, he's going to be accepted, and he definitely filled that stereotype of rather than being confident, he was cocky, and he used that to engage other people so that he could stir up fights.
Yeah, a tough guy who has a problem with authority. It's not enough for him to be like the best football player around. He's got to act out in other ways too.
Right.
And there's one incident that is very notable. In 2007, he is out drinking with the team quarterback in Florida. So the team quarterback at the time is notable dork Tim Tebow, guy who was Brit. Do you remember what he was famous for?
Oh yeah, he was like kind of like a Christian nationalist type, I think, something like
that. He would make a touchdown and then like pray in the end zone, like that guy.
Yeah. What? Don't you pray before the touchdown? Don't you? Like,
you would think so.
Well, yeah. Like, are you just saying like thanks God? I don't understand.
Well, here's what I'm wondering: if when he throws an interception, why doesn't he pray then and say,
right.
Please don't let that happen again, God?
He talks to God. He's like, God, why'd you let that happen, dude? Like, come on.
Right.
Should he be praying before every play? Is that the idea?
Yes.
So he's out for a drink with Tim Tebow. Aaron has 2 drinks. He refuses to pay the bill. And then a manager's like, you're getting out of here. And the manager starts escorting him out. They get to the door, and Aaron turns around and just sucker punches the manager in the ear and ruptures his eardrum.
Whoa.
Ouch.
And the local police department said we should charge him with felony battery, but this gets massaged, and it eventually gets settled out of court with a deferred prosecution agreement instead. And Eric, tell the listeners, what is a deferred prosecution?
Oh, well, this is one of those situations where you don't actually go into a court to have any type of trial or plea bargain to anything really that great. And so when we have people that are entering the system, a way to keep them out, we typically do this with juveniles or first-time offenders, people with money. We give them this option so that they can get out of going through the process and maybe not accepting that they are a full-fledged career criminal or deviant in any way, and they can get back to their good life where they're not misbehaving all the time and accepting it as their identity. So
yeah, the idea is generally, hey, if you keep your hands clean and don't get in more trouble, we'll drop the charges. That's
right. It's a great deal.
Yeah, and we should have it, except for like maybe not the people with power type thing, like for first-time offenders and to have people learn a lesson, sure, but
right.
I think it gets overly used with people with privilege.
Right.
So despite all of this, he was in trouble for a couple other more minor things and brought into police departments, questioned on a couple things, but nothing stuck. And despite all this, Hernandez, at 20 years old, gets drafted to the New England Patriots in the 4th round and playing for them as a tight end. And when he started in the NFL in 2010, he was the youngest active player on any team roster. So he's a phenom.
Yes, he was. Well, here's one of the other things that's important. He had one more year of eligibility at the University of Florida. And the coaches kind of had agreed that he was becoming too much of a troubled individual, that they didn't want to deal with him. Even with how good of a player he was, they were very much like, hey, it's time to move along. And they knew he would get drafted. And there was some discussions between Aaron Hernandez and Urban Meyer, the head coach, about whether or not he should stick around. And they're like, go ahead. You'll do well in the NFL. So that's something that's very interesting to know, that, you know, he could have stayed in college one more year and again dominated. He would have been had that 5th year of eligibility and he would have done great. But they kind of pushed him out and said, go play in the NFL. He was too much trouble already.
It's a nice way of saying go be somebody else's problem.
Right. 100%.
So he is a notable football player. When he hits the NFL, he's one of the best tight ends in the NFL. And with the other tight end, Rob Gronkowski on the Patriots, he scored at least 5 touchdowns in consecutive seasons. He ended up playing in the 2010, 2011, and 2012 seasons. He started out with this 4-year contract. He got $2.3 million. And he performed so well in the NFL that the Patriots re-signed him in 2012 to an extension for 5 years. They lock him in for over $39 million with a $12.5 million signing bonus. And it is the largest signing bonus ever given to an NFL tight end. And it's the second largest contract extension ever, except for Rob Gronkowski, who got more money. But anyway, Aaron Hernandez is on top of the world. Dude is in his early 20s. He's a multi-millionaire. And around this time,
living large, got well. And if you think about, this is a typical story of, here's someone who's grown up, where people have been telling them their whole life, whatever they want to hear just to keep them happy so that they'll keep playing football. And, he's not had to answer for anything. And now, not only that, he's now going to be a multimillionaire. Just a bad combination, ripe for disaster.
Yeah, especially for someone who has these kinds of anger issues on top of it all. And around this time, Hernandez goes back and hires 2 of his friends from Bristol, Connecticut as his assistants. And one of these guys, Alexander Bradley, is his drug dealer and his weapons dealer. And it's also his job kind of to calm down Aaron Hernandez when he gets worked up and into a rage. And Hernandez, sometimes he tried to help out Alexander Bradley in his life. One night he had Bradley drive him home after they're partying at a nightclub. And Alexander Bradley gets pulled over going 105 miles an hour on the highway. And Hernandez tries to hey, trooper, it's okay. I am Aaron Hernandez. It's okay. Yeah. You can let him go. And how do you guys feel about people pulling the "don't you know who I am" card?
Well, the other thing is, this is so common amongst NFL players. Every fall, you hear about someone, a player off of damn near every NFL team. At least one person for each team does this, where they are pulled over doing something ridiculous. 90 something or 100 something, going through the city of which they're playing in their fun new, whatever Lamborghini or Corvette or, Bentley that they have. And yes, this is the conversation is, hey, I'm so-and-so and I play for whatever team. Don't you want to let me go? Don't you know who I am? It's awful. But I guess anybody with any type of power is going to do that, whether it's them, entertainers, politicians. It's
totally
common.
Remember when Justin Timberlake got pulled over, and I think the cop didn't know who he was, but the cop, notably Roger Williams University graduate,
a Roger student. Yeah, that's right.
And I would like to pause and thank the Roger Williams University School of Justice Studies for their
ongoing support.
Ongoing support. That's exactly the term I was looking for.
Yeah.
So there was a crying baby in the background, and my brain froze.
Brain freeze, baby, brain freeze. Yeah, but Roger Williams University School of Justice Studies with degrees in criminal justice, legal studies, forensic science, political science, international relations, sociology, anthropology.
And there's a guarantee that your professors at the university will not pull the "Don't you know who I am" card.
Never would we do that.
Vow. No,
it is our vow.
But please come check us out for all your educational needs, and we'd love to chat. Now, let's get into like the real shit on the other side of that ad break. July 2012 is when he gets into some real trouble. Aaron Hernandez gets investigated for a double homicide that took place near the Cure Lounge in the south end of Boston when he's hanging out with this friend of his, Bradley. And two men named Daniel Jorge Correa de Abreu and Safiro Texiera Furtado. They were 28 and 29 years old. They were murdered by gunshots fired into their car. And witnesses saw Aaron Hernandez's silver 4Runner pull up next to the victims at a stoplight. Someone yelled a racial slur at the victims, popped off 5 shots, and then 2 guys ended up dead. So we're going to put that out there. He gets investigated for it, but we don't see the wheels really start turning in. And this is when things really start to go south between Aaron Hernandez and his friend Alexander Bradley. The two of them took a trip to Florida in February 2013, and they run up a $10,000 tab at a strip club. We all know what that's like.
Ooh.
Hernandez is paranoid. He's like, Bradley, I think these 2 guys sitting across from us, they're undercover cops. He's just being like a whack job. But they leave. And then Bradley wakes up in the car and he sees Aaron Hernandez point a gun in his face. Then Bradley's found the next day with a bullet hole between his eyes. The dude lives through this, but he lost his right eye in the process. And Bradley said that Aaron shot him because he was super paranoid and he was afraid of Bradley going to the authorities and turning him in over this shooting that had happened outside a nightclub. And Hernandez was later acquitted of Bradley's attempted murder. It was a he said issue. Aaron claimed that Bradley was shot by drug dealers over some kind of drug deal gone bad, and nobody really figured it out. And that's the crazy thing is that worked. You got one person saying, "Hey, this guy shot me," and he's saying, "No, these drug dealers did," and that's good enough for him to get off on any of those charges. It's amazing. Mm-hmm. Totally. And Bradley wanted revenge, and he kept texting Aaron Hernandez over and over saying like, "Hey, I got a crew that rolls 6 deep, and I have bulletproof vests, and I have guns, I have ammunition," and threatening Aaron Hernandez and asking for money. And eventually there was some kind of settlement out of court that was undisclosed. But anyway, Bradley gets involved with the trial for these 2 murders, and Hernandez gets slapped with murder charges. And it's his word against Bradley's. Both are claiming it was the other dude. Bradley claims that he and Aaron Hernandez were in this nightclub, the Cure Lounge, and they're in this nightclub a few hours before the shooting. And one of the victims spilled his drink on Aaron Hernandez, and Aaron gets mad and he kills them in retaliation. That was the story and the motive behind the murders.
And we can understand that. I mean, somebody spills a drink on you, they get shot.
Yeah, Britt, how have you reacted in the past when somebody spills a drink on you, even if it's not on purpose?
Oh, cold-blooded murder every time.
Yes, it's
5 shots.
So I'm going to cut ahead for just a moment, and we'll get back to this. But Aaron Hernandez actually got acquitted of both of these murders in April 2017. He was found not guilty on all counts except for handgun possession. Apparently, the police investigation was a total mess. The police had the car towed away from the scene with the 2 victims still inside. There wasn't a whole lot of forensic evidence to tie Aaron Hernandez to the shooting. And Bradley got railroaded by defense attorneys in the courtroom. So when Bradley was on the stand, they brought up that he got a sweet immunity deal for testifying against Aaron Hernandez. And he also wasn't seen as a credible witness. He had a few items on his criminal record, and he was serving a 5-year sentence for shooting up a nightclub in Hartford, Connecticut back in 2014. So the defense keeps attacking his credibility, and it seems like the jury may not have known who to believe. But the evidence they did have it's wild. The car was kept at Aaron Hernandez's cousin's house. The weapon was found on a person connected to Aaron Hernandez. Aaron's phone was nearby at the time of the shooting. And fun enough, Aaron got a tattoo of the gun used in the shooting, and the tat has like an open chamber for the gun, and you can see 5 bullets in the chamber, which is exactly how many bullets were fired. And this is next to his God Forgives tattoo.
Yeah, this is it's one of those situations where it is just such a dumb move. You know, some people just can't get out of their own way and just, you know, like, really, this is what you're going to tattoo on yourself when you're trying to hide from what you did, and you're going to say, hey, look, here's the weapon and the 5 in the chamber, and not a smart tattoo.
No, you're literally putting it on your body, and it's not hard evidence. It's circumstantial, but it still doesn't look good for you.
Right.
So he doesn't go down on that crime, but what he's most notable for is in the offseason in June of 2013, Aaron got arrested and charged with the murder of Odin Lloyd. And the victim is this 27-year-old. He's a semi-pro linebacker for the Boston Bandits, a semi-pro football team in the Boston area. And they're in the New England Football League. And this guy, Odin Lloyd, he knows Aaron because he's dating the sister of Aaron's fiance. The two of them meet at this family function for their partners, and they become fast friends. And one night, Odin and Aaron, they go out to a nightclub together. And in the events leading up to the murder, Aaron saw Odin Lloyd talking with a couple guys he had gotten into a petty altercation with previously. And he gets super pissed. And 2 days later, Aaron Hernandez texts his friends Carlos Ortiz and Ernest Wallace, and he asked for help in dealing with Odin Lloyd because he was talking to 2 guys he had gotten into an altercation with.
It's that paranoia. The paranoia will do that to you, right? If you see people talking, they're talking about you.
Why would you not be? So he asked them for help dealing with Lloyd, and he says, you can't trust anyone anymore. And so on June 17th, the trio of guys, they pick up Odin Lloyd from his home in the south end of Boston. And in the car, Odin Lloyd texted his sister and he said, do you see who I am with? NFL, just so you know. And his last text was this, just so you know. And a couple of industrial workers found they heard some gunshots in an industrial park. A jogger finds Odin Lloyd's body in this industrial park the next day. And he was shot 5 times in the chest and in the back. Aaron Hernandez gets indicted a little over a week later. His associates arrested in the days after. I won't get into it with the associates more than this, but they eventually cop a deal to accessory to murder. But the smoking gun here was incredibly stupid. It was a shell casing found at the scene. There was bubble gum stuck to the shell casing that matched a pack of gum bought by Aaron Hernandez and had his DNA on it. And the rest of the pack was in the rental car. There was also a joint, a marijuana joint, some of that jazz cabbage rolled up in a little funny cigarette. And it was found near Odin's body that had his DNA and Aaron Hernandez's DNA on it. And the prosecution was also able to match an impression of his shoes to the tracks at the crime scene. So like everything ties him to this person who is dead at the same scene.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the day after the murder, investigators went to go search Aaron Hernandez's house, and he had a 14 camera security system because this dude's paranoid, and he had dismantled it, like taken it apart himself. But investigators were able to capture some images from the cameras, and the evidence actually showed photos of him carrying a gun into his home in the hours after he returned home in the middle of the night after Odin's death. He also broke his cell phone into multiple pieces, and that same day hired cleaners for deep clean of his house. Nothing suspicious.
It's just, every move that he makes just leaves more and more evidence of, it's just not smart. No. We know there are smart ways to murder people and dispose of people and all the weapons, and he's not doing any of that.
No, it's that it is like a very stupid murder that is carried out very sloppily. It seems like disorganized. Like this is either a stupid person or a very disorganized person, or both. And
both.
Yeah. Now it's never really been clearly established what the motive was for Odin Lloyd's murder. It was believed that Odin Lloyd may have gotten some wind about Aaron Hernandez being involved with other murders, and perhaps the two guys in Boston, or he might even have known about Aaron Hernandez's alleged bisexuality, which we'll get to later. And Hernandez was worried about being exposed. But it could be something really as dumb and as simple as appearing disloyal by talking to two guys in a nightclub. Like, we don't know still at this point. But do you think that they're going to allow him to play on those New England Patriots, that elite team, once he's arrested?
Yes.
Oh, well, yes, of course. Why wouldn't you? That's more important than somebody's life being taken.
Well, Eric, let me set the record straight. They released him from the team 90 minutes after his arrest.
Oh, bummer.
He was immediately barred from ever stepping foot in Gillette Stadium again. And there are reports that at the time of his arrest, he was known as a loose cannon. He was unpredictable, unpopular with the other players, and he like relishes this reputation. He's a bad boy. He's the team asshole. He's an outcast.
Yeah.
But the teammates are saying, like, this guy is unhinged. It sounds like the team might have looked at him like the same way as Florida teammates looked at him when he was let go from there to join the NFL. But after he's booked on murder charges, Bill Belichick, notable former coach of the New England Patriots, says, you guys, we're not even going to say his name in the locker room anymore. We don't talk about him. He's out of here. Now, I'm going to get back to some of this, but let's get to the meat of the podcast. The stuff that people come to Prison Breakdown for. We're talking about Aaron Hernandez in his time in prison.
Yes.
Now, the Bristol County House of Corrections is in Dartmouth, Massachusetts, near Rhode Island. Have you been there? I have not.
I have not either.
It is, from every inmate I've ever spoken to about the jails in Massachusetts, I've heard several inmates say this is the worst jail to spend time at. It's
really,
yeah. They've said, like, food terrible. They've talked about cockroaches, just like deteriorating cell conditions. It's all bad. There's nothing good to say about this one. So apparently pretty bad. And Aaron Hernandez spends 22 months at the Bristol County House of Corrections. And the former sheriff of Bristol County told the Associated Press that Aaron Hernandez would use his wit and his charm to try and manipulate corrections officers. And
with how horrible everything with trying to conceal his crime. I don't know if there's much wit there. Now, there might be charm, but there's not a whole lot of wit.
Yeah. He's a big dude. He's a handsome dude. So maybe just like smiling at people and like, hey, yo, can I have more food?
Hey, boss, can I get that good time, boss?
Yeah. So in his time there, he got charged with at least 4 physical altercations and 21 disciplinary offenses. He was put on disciplinary detention status several times, which often is that's often used as like a synonym for like the SHU or like special housing unit or
the
solitary confinement. The whole, yes. This was for stuff. He tested positive for painkillers. He possessed paraphernalia that signaled his membership in the Bloods, which I'll get back to later. He possessed 15 feet of fishing line made of torn bed sheets, and toothpaste that was used to pass notes. I've seen inmates using this before, like at San Quentin, where
the fishing,
it like if you think of like a long hallway being like a tier of a prison block, like inmates passing notes using this. It's like a fishing line between the cells.
Yeah, and it's great. It's unbelievable how good they get at being able to move around a note and communicate with one another by doing that. You know, they'll throw it to one cell and they'll throw it to another one and bounce it all across the day room or along the tier just to get the note to the person who's supposed to get it. And
it's truly impressive to watch.
It is. And if you're an inmate there, you better not open up somebody else's note. That would be a whole lot of trouble. That note was not intended for you.
Yeah. You can get yourself in a world of hurt that way. So don't open other people's mail. Britt?
Yeah, don't.
As our mail expert, you want to weigh in?
Never open anybody else's mail for any reason. Just don't do it. Just don't do it.
So what else can I say about his time there? He also threatened to beat up the corrections officer who caught him with the fishing line. He threatened to beat up this corrections officer and kill his family, which he denied. While he was in detention status, he also got a delivery of 24 honey buns as part of a care package, and he apparently ate 20 of them in one sitting before anyone could recognize that a person on this kind of disciplinary confinement isn't supposed to receive food. And so he's just like stuffing them in his mouth before anyone can catch him. And when they took them away from him, he said, "Can I have the other 4? I'm so hungry." And they said no.
Yeah.
He tried really hard to get extra sandwiches at every opportunity, but corrections officers were instructed to treat Aaron Hernandez just like every other inmate. And this is a way of life at jails. I remember there was a woman one night. I was working at county jail, and this woman gets booked in, and she goes, "Don't you know who I am? I'm a vice president for LG. I should be booked quicker." And
wow.
And we did not let that affect our judgment. And the sergeant had to tell her that no, ma'am, everyone here is treated the same. You are going to have to sit down and wait your turn.
Everyone is booked in the same.
Yeah, and if you pull that shit, it will often slow your progress in the system.
It backfires quickly.
It is not looked at kindly. So during his time at Bristol County House of Correction, Aaron was not even allowed to watch TV. He wasn't even able to see his team win another Super Bowl during his incarceration in jail. He was also not allowed to have newspapers, or he's not allowed to read newspapers or have a radio. And his lawyers complained against these conditions. They filed a motion for him to be moved to another jail because that is like pretty unreasonable conditions, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I was going to say, that's weird that they won't even let him have the newspaper.
Yeah.
Right. I think of even our most severe custody inmates. There was an inmate at our jail who had murdered a corrections officer, and he got to read the newspaper for an hour a day still. Yeah. And he had access to a phone. Mm-hmm. But in this case, it seems like Aaron Hernandez struggled with everything. Just getting along with other inmates, frustrations from not being able to talk to people, just routine disciplinary stuff, all of this. So he gets moved, though. In April 2015, he gets convicted of first-degree murder for the murder of Odin Lloyd, and he got convicted of 5 weapons charges. In Massachusetts, these carry a mandatory sentence. You get life in prison without the possibility of parole. And after his conviction, he gets transferred to a prison called MCI Cedar Junction. It's Massachusetts Correctional Institution Cedar Junction. It's an intake facility in Massachusetts, and then they keep you there for like a month or so, and then they classify you and send you to another prison in Massachusetts that they think meets your classification best. And so he gets transferred. Sorry,
those intake institutions, and depending on which state you're in, can range anywhere from a month to a year, because it's really, really important that they do their job and classify people to the proper custody level and figure out if there's any mental health issues, any physical health issues, and any programming that is necessary, such as going through AANA, sex offender program, anger management, any of those. All of that is assigned to the inmate's jacket at that point, so that they can go to the right institution, or that they'll start at the right institution, and after some good time, after spending some good behavior in terms of a few years, that maybe a max, they can jump down to a medium where they do have all of that programming before they serve out their sentence. But those intake, and assessment centers are really, really important in the correctional system.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And just to make sure you have the right programs, making sure that somebody is going into a level of custody that they are like set up to succeed. We don't want to see somebody fail at any point like that.
Right.
That's not necessarily what it's for. Like the corrections does not necessarily set up people for success, but this is one of those measures where like they set up people to be the most successful, at least in theory.
Right. And the idea is with the custody level, we want to make sure we're not putting somebody who's in there for some type of bank fraud or something like that, some embezzlement, something that has nothing to do with any type of physical assault, is not in there with, sharing a cell with somebody who's a lifetime career criminal who's, dealing drugs, has a long history of assaults, whatever it might be. You got to keep those populations separated.
Yeah. And it's a problem we're actually seeing now with like women's prisons, where like because there's fewer women in prison, there's fewer women's prisons, and so classification collapses down to like there's less of it. There's fewer prisons, so there's fewer levels of classification, and so we do see that happening more with women's prison populations, but not so much with men's. So he does get transferred out pretty quickly from this intake center, and he gets transferred to the Massachusetts Maximum Security Facility, Sousa Baranowski. And his time at Sousa was fairly eventful. The dude got a life sentence, and 1 month in, he's got a CO dropping by to check on him. But Aaron blocks the door, so the CO can't get in. And he's like insolent when the CO approaches him. He's like, "This place ain't shit to me. I'll run this place and keep running shit," was the quote. He was in a 2-on-1 fight with other inmates that got him sent to a segregation unit. He was part of the 2 beating up the 1 guy. They cornered an inmate on his cell and had a gang-related scuffle. And it seems that Aaron also joined the Bloods gang while he was in prison. He got inked on his neck, and it said "Lifetime Loyalty." This tattoo that had a 5-pointed star and said "Lifetime Loyalty," that you could see during his last trial.
Wow.
Yeah. So he's making moves quickly. He's working his way into the hierarchy. He's also at one point he's on rec time in a cage out in the yard, and he and another guy in another cage, they get into an argument. They start spitting on one another through the fencing. He called the prison corrupt. He would complain about corrections officers reading his mail. At one point, there's this letter that has it says MOB on the letter, which he says it means money over bitches, and the officers are like, "No, that means member of Bloods." And he's like, "No, you can't read my mail." And he tore up a letter and ate it in front of corrections officers. So they
no.
Yeah, like some real Cookie Monster shit. I think that's funny.
Well, that goes back to his, what did he have sent in to him in the 24 of the Little Debbies that he ate?
Yeah.
The honey buns, that's what it was.
Part of being in jail, like you as a corrections officer, like you have to check the mail coming in.
Right.
It is part of the job. You're not reading the mail. You were just making sure that there's nothing illicit that they can't receive.
Right.
In his time at Sousa, he would often kick his cell door. He would yell at people until he's confronted, and then he thinks it's funny. He was like a cell warrior type. He's a guy who would get super aggressive when he doesn't get what he wants. He's like a small child in his wiring. And in his time at Sousa, he had 78 disciplinary offenses stemming from 12 major incidents, 3 fistfights, 2 were smoking-related issues. He was smoking tobacco and at one point possessing a homemade lighter. He was blocking doors, using another inmate's PIN to make unauthorized calls, getting prison tattoos, one of them I mentioned. And he was also found in possession of a 6-inch sharpened metal shiv.
That's a large shiv.
That is a gigantic shiv, yeah.
That's a sword.
But it wasn't all bad.
A lot of damage.
Yeah, it wasn't all bad, though. Like his brother would come visit him occasionally. Bro, if either of us end up in prison, we're visiting.
Yeah.
I think we know which one would end up in prison.
In prison, so his brother would visit occasionally and exchange mail with him regularly. He often called to talk to his fiance, who said, "I'm going to stay by your side forever," and his 4-year-old daughter. But he did say he cut off all communication with people in his life who didn't support him through the trials and arrests, which included most of the people on the New England Patriots. And he would talk about like Robert Kraft being a fake ass and stuff like this.
Yeah.
So
imagine that, a billionaire being fake.
Yeah. It's unthinkable. This man who has too much money and too much power being fake. So he gets acquitted of the double murder. We talked about that. He's transferred to Sousa in April of 2015. In 2017, he's acquitted of the double murder. He's already in prison for Odin Lloyd's murder. But only 5 days after he gets acquitted of these charges, he is found hanging by his bed sheets in his cell, and it's ruled a suicide. And Aaron Hernandez is only 27 years old. And we don't know why he committed suicide to this day. Oddly, he had not shown any signs of suicidal ideations prior to committing the act. He had been talking with like his fiance and child either in the days before, and he didn't express any indications of suicidal thoughts. He had talked to his attorney from this double murder case, and the attorney didn't see anything coming. The couple of things that were more suspect were, one, a reporter 2 days after he's acquitted on this second trial, a reporter had gone on a Boston radio station and started joking and essentially outing him as bisexual. And apparently there'd been some rumors. I don't think anything was substantiated, but there were at this point no gay players who were out in the NFL at this time. And he was also smoking K2, synthetic marijuana, in the days before his death, once the trial was over. And anyone who's ever seen anyone on K2, their behavior is more unpredictable and can mimic mental illness.
Has anybody on this podcast seen anyone on K2?
Oh, I remember a guy coming into jail one night, and he was enraged. He was fighting us, and he was like on a different planet. And then I see him on a unit 2 days later, and he goes, "Hey, officer, how's it going?" And he was polite and a completely different person. It was unlike anything I've seen before with other drugs.
Yeah, you got a big problem with those synthetic, non-controlled substances. Yeah, I've seen lots of people on those, especially like managing like a very urban grocery store. You see a lot of people on like drugs you can't really define. You know, I remember when bath salts were kind of a thing and still like legal and sold. Definitely saw some people on those, you know.
Yeah, it's they're unpredictable, and it's yeah, after that one guy, I don't go looking to make friends on these synthetic drugs. So, as I said, he had not shown any signs of these suicidal ideations, but in his suicide, he had hung himself with a bedsheet, and he had the words John 3:16 written on his forehead at the time, and he had apparently turned a Bible to the page. And for anyone unfamiliar, the passage is, "For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life." And there's some real shit that goes on around this point. Mm-hmm. Following Aaron Hernandez's suicide, he was actually considered innocent with respect to Odin Lloyd's murder. There's this legal doctrine in Massachusetts called abatement ab initio, where if someone dies after conviction, but before their appeal is completed, the person's legal records are wiped clean.
What?
So he's appealing his murder charge.
Yeah. Huh. Right. It's such a crazy, policy that they have. It's so interesting.
So the chief legal counsel from Massachusetts Bar, Martin Healy, said it will be as if it never occurred. The indictment, the complaint, the trial, all of that. In the eyes of the law, it's all null and void. But Odin Lloyd's family said, fuck no, this is not justice. Mm-hmm. So in 2017, it got dismissed after his suicide. And then it was brought back in 2019 after Odin Lloyd's family appealed this vacated conviction, and they got it to stick again, because even in death, they're like, this is not fair, that like justice for our son would not be done.
Right.
And that like the history books would just like wipe out this conviction. Mm-hmm. And there was a post-mortem examination of Aaron Hernandez that revealed an advanced case of something that we call chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Are you too familiar with this?
CTE. Yeah.
Very much so. I worry about it.
Yeah. Eric, you've been in the football before. You've had a concussion or two.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I think the worst concussion I ever had was playing rugby. But yeah, there's a few concussions in there, and I'm sure, my brain is not the greatest to begin with, and so I'm worried. I'm actually worried about that a little bit and what it might do in terms of, some type of early onset dementia or anything along those lines, because this is it's really, CTE is pretty damn serious.
Oh, it's super. So this Boston University researcher who looked at his brain, she was like, this guy had advanced stage 3 CTE. It only goes up to stage 4. And she said his brain looked like that of like a 67-year-old man and what it was. And he died at age 27. So your brain shouldn't look like that.
Right. Right.
And it had this like severe damage to the frontal lobes, which are super important for things like decision making and cognition and for judgment. And it can affect someone's like impulsiveness or their willingness to be violent or decision making. So we need to like impress on people. Wear those helmets, our football friends.
Right. Where you look at it's amazing what they can come up with in terms of technology for protecting people. They need to do that for sports like football and hockey and rugby. They need to have these things available to protect people's brains. I mean, heck, my niece had 2 really serious concussions playing volleyball. So
volleyball,
wild. Yeah,
you don't expect it in a non-contact sport like volleyball.
Right. Well, I know one of the other sports that is really bad with concussions is soccer, because of that repeated practicing heading the ball during practice. Really does, it's that low, kind of a low dose concussion over and over and over.
Do you think they've worked this out of soccer practices by now? Do your kids play soccer? Are you able to speak to this?
Yeah. So I know they are not allowed to start heading the ball in the United States until they are 14 years old.
That's a good start. All right.
Good start, yeah.
Yeah.
So he had this super advanced CTE. Having CTE doesn't necessarily make people violent. I'm sure you two remember the case of Chris Benoit.
Oh yes, from WWE. Yeah, I was just thinking about that. No,
he homicided, as the Gen Z kids say. He unalived himself and his family, and he. It was a tragic case. And when they looked at his brain afterward, they're like, oh, this he had the brain of someone with Alzheimer's, essentially, from just a crazy advanced case of CTE. And that might be what happened here. It's hard to say exactly what factor made him so violent, and we don't have a clear explanation for it. But CTE definitely didn't help.
No, definitely not.
But we can't blame everything on that.
No.
In his suicide, Aaron Hernandez left 3 letters. He left one to his fiancée, Shiana Jenkins. He left one to his 4-year-old daughter, Abiel, that he had with his fiancée. And there's a letter left to his attorney, who represented him in his acquittal on the double murder. It says a lot of the like, hey, I love you. Thank you for being there for me. You look at his writing and you're like, whoa, this guy could barely write a letter. And there is a rumor of a 4th letter that went to a man rumored to be his prison boyfriend and the last person to see him alive. This guy, Kyle Kennedy.
Oh, wow.
It has never been substantiated. Kyle Kennedy, it's crazy. People magazine interviewed this guy afterward, and he's like, I got this letter. I can't show it to you. I think was essentially the gist of it. Like, it's never been substantiated, but he's like, right. It says that he loved me, and I'm supposed to get his $50,000 watch.
Along with his old house and a car and that contract bonus that he got with the Patriots.
He comes across as Kyle Kennedy guy. I looked into him and like read some blogs on him, and he died earlier this year. He seems to me to be this like craven opportunist where he wanted some limelight. He's the kind of guy who was like in and out of prison over and over and over again on like parole violations for driving a car without a license. And he just small-time drug dealer and guy who he like the kind of guy who literally changed his Facebook photo to him hot wiring a motorcycle, which I believe he also got arrested for. And he, at the time of his death, the online rumors are that he was dating his stepsister. It's some like real weird stuff, but nothing there is substantiated. Nothing has been, and I doubt it ever will be. So Mr. Kennedy is an unreliable witness there. Anyway, that's the tale of Aaron Hernandez. Let's go around. I want to start by saying I think that this proves that nightclubs are bad. I think everything bad that happened to him happened around a nightclub, and so criminologically, nightclub.
Well, what about what about the industrial park or whatever where we killed that other guy? That was not a nightclub.
Oh, they had been to a nightclub together.
Earlier that week. Okay, sure.
Here's my old football coach used to say, "Nothing good happens after midnight." So maybe Hernandez needed to listen to my football coach instead of his football coaches that were total enablers.
Yeah. Maybe he was enabled too much by a system, and like they tried to shield him a lot. It seems too.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I gotta go.
Peace.
Thank you, guys.
Later, Eric.
Well, if I hang up, it'll upload.
Yeah.
Hang on. Can you give us your final thoughts before you go? Just any last thoughts on Aaron Hernandez? Give me what you got.
Yeah. So my final thoughts on him are pretty much that it's a real tragedy. Here's somebody with all this talent athletically who wasn't able to ever receive the guidance that he really needed to keep his life out of trouble. And this is a common theme that we see amongst people that other individuals in society revere because of the wrong reasons. We put people who are good athletes up on pedestals, and doesn't always lead to great things. And this is one of those situations. So it's unfortunate.
Very well put. Britt, as someone who is relatively unfamiliar with Aaron Hernandez, give us your take.
This is what happens when you just keep enabling violent people, and not holding them to account. They're just going to keep on doing bad things, especially when they have money, when they're rich and can just like buy their problems away. It's bad news. Bad news for everyone involved.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I think that this all could have been very preventable. Mm-hmm. And especially if a lot of this comes down to like a guy getting pissed off and murdering two someone's because they spilled a drink on him. Like as far as we know, that is and was a motive for this double murder that he had allegedly been involved in. Mm-hmm. And we'll never know exactly what the truth is. But if that was what happened, like, holy shit, like we missed something here. And there are interventions we can use.
Mm-hmm.
But somebody who has this level of anger management problems, it's going to come out in other ways. And maybe we should have picked that up earlier.
Indeed, we should have.
Now, I would like to move on from sad topics to movie topics.
Maybe other sad topics. We'll see. Let's get into Movie Minute.
Movie Minute. Movie Minute. 60 seconds with producer Britt to talk about movies.
All right. Last time on the cast, Judge Beck here sentenced me to watch Materialists from 2025. So, Materialists from 2025 is a film written and directed by Celine Song, best known for her directorial debut, the Oscar-nominated Korean film Past Lives from 2023, which I think was on my top 10 for that year. It was a very good film.
Great film.
So, this film, Materialists, centers on Dakota Johnson, who plays a matchmaker in New York City, who's caught in kind of a love triangle between her ex, who's a poor, struggling actor played by Chris Evans, and a charming, rich private equity guy played by Pedro Pascal. I was really torn on this film. On one hand, it's incredibly well shot, and very well acted, and very well written. Everything that should make a movie good, right?
Yeah.
Also,
I think
like
so.
a few of the lines and like some of the dialogue like deeply resonated with me and made me feel a lot, which is something a good movie does. On the other hand, the entire film is predicated on a type of person and lifestyle I don't vibe with in any way. Like the professional like matchmaker where you basically have to be rich as a bar of entry in order to hire them, or like wealthy. Like it's a whole lifestyle of like, I mean, the film is entirely about people trying to get married and talking about marriage in a context of like mathematics.
Yeah, it's like dating power math.
Yeah, right. And so like I'm not monogamous and I don't plan on getting married, and I really, really don't care about economic compatibility in a way that this film is centered around. So overall, I thought it was a good film, but it was a film that really wasn't for me. Like on a technical level, this is likely a 4 out of 5 soup film, but for me, it did not connect. It was a good movie, but I think it's kind of bad for the culture. 2 out of 5 soups.
I thought it was like tonally very weird.
It was very strange.
And how it swung back and forth between like it had some very, very funny moments to it. Like I laughed harder at some moments in this film than I have at many like comedy films.
Right.
And then like the last third of the film becomes not a comedy, and without any spoilers, it takes a turn that like it didn't really build consistency for the character for me to accept.
Right. It was like it was like at first they were like the movie's like a really good Hallmark film. Like, but then like the last act just turns into like this really dour kind of meditation on like marriage, and like I don't know, it was something. I didn't hate it, but I definitely didn't like it.
Yeah,
and I recognize it was good, but it's not a good that like connected with me in any way, you know.
I assigned it because I thought it's a movie that made me think, and I like that it is controversial in what it is, and I think your opinion reflects many people's opinions on this film, where it's inconsistent and weird, and you feel a disconnect from. It spans so much that you're going to feel a disconnect from something.
So yeah, it felt like watching a foreign film, but within my own culture. You know what I'm saying? Like it felt like watching a film about a culture that is completely foreign to me, but somehow it just takes place in my country and like in a major city that's a lot like mine. But it didn't feel like it was like a Korean film or anything. It was just like, hey, here's a film about like this hyper monogamous, like kind of wealthy culture. And I'm like, I don't connect with any of that. And it wasn't like a commentary on that culture either, really, which I found strange.
I think it is a commentary on like the scenes that took place at the matchmaker offices. I thought were very, very funny.
Yeah, and those kind of like actually said a lot more and were more a commentary on the culture, especially like with the clients like demanding hyper specific things that were really strange. Like those moments were funny, and then the whole commentary after like the moving into like the third act where like like the assault happens and like she goes into the office. Like I was like, what is happening here? And it just like took a really strange turn, which I don't know. It was a roller coaster. It's like the film's about 2 hours long, I think, and like I think justifies its runtime, but like I don't know, just was a story that really didn't connect with me.
What about the bookends of the cave people?
I like that.
How did you feel about
that was kind of fun. That was I liked how
I thought it
kind of used that.
It was like too experimental for me. It felt like too out of left field.
No, it was very 2001: A Space Odyssey. It was like, hey, let's show like how things are always the same. by showing like monkeys doing the exact same thing we're about to show. You know, it's the same idea as 2001: A Space Odyssey, and I think kind of ripped off from that, but I liked it.
I agree. I felt like it ripped off from that, and I did not like it.
Fair. Well, you don't really like 2001: Space Odyssey, though, do you?
I contend with it. I believe I own it on a Blu-ray.
Oh, do you? Okay.
So I must like it.
Okay. Must you? I feel like Sir must have given that to you or something.
No. I bought it.
Okay.
I think it's good.
Right, cool.
And I think I have to sentence you. I have to apply a sentence. And so with being a new dad, I haven't had as much time for film continuously. So I've been watching films in parts. I'm going to sentence you to a little film. I believe it's from 1981. The film is called Southern Comfort.
Okay.
And we will pick up here to talk about next time on Jocktober.
Indeed. Good old Jocktober. Well, that's about it. We should give one more shout out to our wonderful sponsor.
Thank you, Roger Williams University School of Justice Studies, for your continued patronage.
We appreciate you and your wonderful degree offerings.
Indeed we do. Now, I think it's time for us to say it on the count of 3. 3, 2, 1.
Lights out.
That was bad. We didn't say it at the same time at all.
No, it was, we did. Never mind.
No, let's talk it over the lights.
Lights out! Lights out!
No, let's not do that. No, stop that. No, stop talking. Stop it. No, stop it. No, there's latency on your end. It doesn't stop.